Chapter 41. Enki-sama. A siren called, as she saw Enki passing through the hallways of the gates. What is it? Enki asked as he turned. Siren-sama has requested some assistance to investigate the newly discovered universe primeval. And she asked for me. Enki pointed at himself confused. Yes, it would seem she does not want to bother the others as they are all busy with their duties. The siren answered. Enki covered his face with his right hand. And yet she can bother me. Enki complained as he let the siren guide him to the gate. The siren didn't join him, as he passes through the gate with siren waiting for him with her arms crossed. What took so long? Nothing, just don't abruptly call me like this again. Enki said. So what's the problem here? Normally everyone would just mind their own jobs and not bother anyone, as all of them have their own duties to take care of. Enki and Siren especially are at the forefront of the expedition and investigation teams to uncharted areas. Keep quiet and listen, Siren said as she closed her eyes. Enki was confused but copied her. #######. A weird sound could be heard from all directions. The sound is calling onto both Enki and Siren. ! Enki opened his eyes wide. What was that? I don't know myself, Siren admitted as she continues to listen. It seems it's not only me, you could hear it too. What do you mean? Enki asked as he eyes her. Siren opens her eyes and looked at him. The other sirens and Enkis don't hear it. She explains. I even called some of the holy angels and demons and even they couldn't hear it. So you're saying it specifically calls us? Enki pointed at the two of them. Maybe, or maybe those with higher level of strength. I couldn't bother the others like Apollyon-san and Mitsurio-san for something like this. Gamaliel-san is always with Lei-sama and I don't want to bother the primordial demons. Siren shrugs as she explains. Then what should we do? Should we wait for Rimuru-sama or investigate it now? Enki asked. It doesn't seem hostile, it just seems to call us. Siren thought about the situation. Let's investigate it, but leave a report about it first and bring someone in case fighting does happen. Enki nodded and they left the primeval universe to report what they found. They gave a report to Lei. She took it and read through it as the two watched. She looks towards them as she continues to read the report. It states in the report that in primeval universe that was just recently discovered, a sound could be heard trying to attract both Siren and Enki. The others don't seem to hear the sound and only the two of them do. They request for permission to investigate the sound and ask for support in case fighting occurs. How much support do you need? Lei placed the report down and asked the two. We would like to have at least someone strong enough, who can immediately report for reinforcement if a problem occur. Siren answered. More on quality, Lei said. She looks towards Gamaliel. Have Blanc and Apollyon come with them as well as 100 Enkis and Sirens. Understood, Gamaliel bowed and left the room. Lei looked to the two, to which they nodded and followed Gamaliel out. Once they return to the primeval universe, the four stops. Can you hear them? Siren asked Blanc and Apollyon. Unfortunately I cannot, Apollyon stated as he shook his head. For me as well, Blanc said as she closes her eyes trying to focus. Well then, lead the way you two. Enki and Siren stepped forward and flew to space, with the other Enkis and Sirens spread out to cover more area. They have been traveling for the past few hours, with everyone following the two. The sound is getting louder, Enki commented. We should be getting close now. I slightly feel something, Blanc said as she follows behind. Same here, Apollyon added. More proof that we're getting closer, huh? Siren concluded. Go, we're way past the charted areas. Another half an hour and they all stopped. They could see a star system just ahead. Smaller than an average star system, commented Blanc, as she looks. The star system only consists of one giant star, sun and a lone water planet with a small moon orbiting it. With the surrounding filled with asteroids and leftover destroyed planets. Here, asked Apollyon as all of them got closer. The two nodded as they signaled their subordinates to spread out and investigate the sun and planet. They feel weird, Enki commented. I feel like I'm being dragged into them. Same here, that's why I didn't go there just yet. Siren agreed. Just a bit of precaution. An hour after the Enkies investigated the sun and the Sirens investigated the water planet. They all returned to the four who were watching from afar. Report. The Enkies moved forward. Flame storm. Wah. The Enkies all fired at the four of them, with them in the middle of a large cyclone of flames. So, technically spirits use real-world laws, so with no oxygen they shouldn't be able to use flames in space, however they are using fire manipulation which uses magicules. So it's safe. Wipes sweat. Well, this is a surprise, Tilda, Blanc said as she removed the flames surrounding them. To think you lot would betray Rimuru-sama like this. What are you doing? Enki shouted at them. Explain yourselves right now. PFT, can't even control your own subordinates. Siren laughed, looking at Enki who was trying to command the other Enkies. The subordinates, fault is the leader's responsibility. I'm telling this to Rimuru-sama, Tilda. Hey, you bastard. Enki turned to look at Siren who was barely holding back her laughter. Seriously, Siren shook her head. Can't believe someone like yo. Aqua Lance. Siren turned around and dodged the attack directed at her. Water jail. Another attack tried to imprison her. Why are you guys attacking me? The Sirens continued to attack Siren as she dodges and questioned them. She made eye contact with Enki for a second, who with the most shit-eating grin she has ever seen in her life. Guess I have something to report to Rimuru-sama as well. Enki mockingly said as he watches. While the two continue to piss each other off as they tried to reason with their subordinates, Blanc and Apollyon merely watches with barriers surrounding them. What do you think is it? Blanc asked, looking at the Enkies and Sirens. The only explanation I could think of is mind manipulation. Apollyon answered, the planet and sun must have done something to them for sure. Can you cancel it? Blanc looked towards Apollyon. I don't think I can, it seems to be too powerful, can't even locate it, she admitted. Me as well, Apollyon agreed with her. It is very powerful, I don't think even Lord Gamaliel could dispel it as well. I said explain yourselves. Enki shouted as he poured out his magicules to all of the Enkies. As they are all of the same species, they felt more pressure. Are you really betraying Rimuru-sama like this? That goes for you all too. Even Siren joined in, creating a large wave of magicules that spread to all direction for thousands of kilometers. The Enkies and Sirens all froze in place, some were trembling in place. Their mouths quivering, trying to speak. Sama, Khan, Raul, Emmy. Enki was wide-eyed. Several tried with their hardest to speak. Both realizing that they weren't betraying them and are being controlled got a more in-depth understanding of the situation. They're being controlled, he shouted to Siren who was still dodging and flying around. What should we do? Oh, they have unraveled the dilemma. A voice was heard, it came from the direction of the sun. Quicker than I anticipated, yours as well I presume. Another voice stated, it came near the water planet. They have the capacity to coerce their subordinate to rebel against our authority, replied the other. As soon as the voices started to speak, the Enkies and Sirens who were controlled finally stopped attacking. All of them looked towards the sun and the water planet, the voices came from there. Did you hear that, Apollyon Dono? Blanc said with caution. Yes, I heard it too, confirmed Apollyon. Let's not do anything hasty, they don't seem hostile at the moment. Who is there? Enki shouted, are you the ones who controlled our subordinates? Yes, it was us. One of the voices said, all we wanted to do was evaluate you both. Eva. Luate, us? Asked Siren. Yes, we're the ones who brought you both here, after all, so we can determine whether you two are worthy to challenge us. The voice said, confirming. And why should we challenge you? Enki asked. Oh, we still conceal our auras. The voice realized that we are, thus it makes sense why they do not realize. The other agreed. Soon after saying those words, an immense aura started to spread to the surrounding. The force of the aura pushed everyone by hundreds of kilometers away, with the auras reaching several other sectors and galaxies. And no way. Let us formally introduce ourselves, both voices said in unison. We have lived since before the dawn of creation. We are those WHO help build reality. Quote. We are the ones WHO assisted the creator. We are the very concepts of everything. We are the primordial spirits of fire and water. Everyone are just frozen in place with both the revelation and the immense aura, especially for both Enki and Siren. Their subordinates, while still loyal to Rimuru, and the two of them, unconsciously bowed their heads. Can't kneel, they're in space lol. While Enki and Siren are also feeling the desire to bow, they forcefully kept their head facing forward. Impressive, look water, they could resist our auras, the voice said with a happy tone. We've been searching for someone deserving for a while. This is encouraging, fire, the other had a relieved tone. While waiting, yes, as you can see, we are no longer at our peak because we were used to construct everything. Fire said simply. We are rapidly losing our energy just by existing, which means that we will soon cease to exist. Fire and I have made the decision to give our remaining power to a deserving individual. Water added on. And in order to accomplish that, we have been challenging spirits of water and fire from all over. Fortunately for us, an abundance of spirits have been appearing ever since universes started interacting about 1,000 years ago, though it has subsided currently. Fire explained. So will you force these two to participate in your test? Apollyon moved forward in front of the two, asking both primordial spirits. We cannot just let you go for what you did, Blanc added, joining her. To have someone control Rimuru-sama's property like that. You are making yourself an enemy of us. Oh, a descendant of darkness and light, Water commented as it finally looked towards them both. However, they don't quite measure up to our descendant. Fire added into its evaluation. Now, the angel looks like the creator's old model. As for the demon, there seems to be restrictions in her growth. Water explained, the demon is a primordial after all. If nurtured correctly, she could stand higher than those two. You didn't seem to listen to my warning, huh? Blanc said, pissed at their evaluation of her and apathetic reaction to her words. Oh, apologies for that. Water stated, we do not force them to accept, it is up to them if they want to. Indeed, after all, we want them to desire the powers that we have. Fire continued, let me ask you two now, if you can fulfill the condition. You both can acquire the remaining powers of primordial spirits. Enki and Siren looked at each other, they had an internal discussion in what they should do. They know, they cannot defeat them. Can we ask the condition first? Siren asked. Hey, what are you saying? Apollyon said, grabbing at Siren. Do you really plan on listening? Of course, Water answered. We have a material body, as you can see, the condition is to find our material cores and damage it. Even just a small scratch is acceptable enough. Fire added in. After all, the core is extremely protected and you don't have the ability to defeat us. Is that all the conditions? Enki asked to confirm. You too, Enki. Apollyon glared at Enki. Cease this irrational behavior. Everyone simply ignore Apollyon's words. The important part is to damage our material core and to survive our onslaught. What do you say? Will you accept? The two had conflicted expressions. Personally, both of them want to accept the challenge. Last major fight, the one with the insects, showed that they are still far from strong. It took 4 of them to fight one insectar. That shame could not be removed in their mind ever. And now, an opportunity has shown itself to them to be more useful, to be more powerful. Especially considering that once the demon primordials evolve, they would be left behind. Blanc-san, we plan on accepting. Siren looked towards Blanc with a determined expression. Blanc sighed, you'll lose, you know. Apollyon agreed, that is correct, you two. Let us first retreat now and discuss this with Lady Lay, or at least wait for Lord Rimuru. Even so, to be more useful to Rimuru-sama, we'll take this opportunity to be stronger. Enki clenched his fist as he proclaimed, looking at Apollyon. Like I said, this is dangerous. Apollyon tries to reason out. Blanc dono say something. Blanc continues to just stare at them. Apollyon looked towards the primordial spirits. What happens if they lose? He asked. They'll die, and become a part of us. Fire answered. As what happens to all that challenge us? See, Apollyon said, this is too dangerous. Blanc. He looked towards Blanc. Fine, you two can go and fight. Blanc said as she shrugs. Thank you for understanding. The two move forward to the sun and water planet. Apollyon was planning to complain for Blanc's behavior until he receives a thought communication. As soon as the fight seemed dire, we take them and run. We should have retreated from the start. I've contacted Lay Sama already. Gamaliel Sama is on his way here. This was the day that Enki and Siren would never forget, just how inferior they were to the primordial spirits of fire and water. That if not for the help of Blanc and Apollyon, they would have died right then and there. Not to mention the sacrifices of the Enkis and Sirens who stepped forward to receive the attacks to make sure their leaders escape. To be continued.